Hi, I'm Paul Brodie. This is my shop. Mitch is behind the camera as usual. Thank you, Mitch. Welcome. We're doing a build today. It's a Romax build. Built the frame, fork, stem, brakes, things like that. So it's pretty custom. And got a table full of parts, organized somewhat. I've been watching other videos on builds and nobody says anything, nobody smiles. They all wear black gloves. I do not have black gloves. We'll just have to look at my hands as I work. So we're gonna get started here. We got the frame right over there, and I think the first thing we'll do is to put the fork in, things like that. The fork, and I want to show you, it's got a clear coat on it. The whole frame and the stem and the fork has a clear coat on it. Turned out quite nice. And the clear coat is this Imron. It was on the welding table over there when I was welding, and some viewer, he saw that. He had an eagle eye. So this is the clear coat, and it's not available in Canada. So I went down to the US. This was years ago now, and I bought it. It's not cheap. I think in Canadian, this and this is $450. Not cheap. We got the crown racer going. This one has a split, so I think I can just put it on by hand. There, it just snaps on by hand. If you don't have the one with the split, you have to use, this is like a heavy tube. It's like a slide hammer. That's how that works. We're gonna install the cups in the frame. So I made up some new tooling here. So this has to match with that. That's the same size as the cups, a little bit of clearance. Oops, there you go. Make sure everything looks lined up. That goes in pretty tight, which is good. And that's it. I got the headset as a gift. A guy named David came by and he gave me a whole bunch of stuff. He was going to be a frame builder, and then he got busy with life. So from him I got, on this bike, I got the headset, I got the seat tube, and I got the wheels. So thank you, David. So what I'm going to do here is, this is a little long. I have to mark it and then I'll hacksaw it off, and then we can do the final installation. To the base of the threads, lock it, and then make a mark right there. This is my deburring tool. Just takes the burr off the inside. This is anti-seize. I'll put a little bit on the threads just so that later on it doesn't seize. Okay, headset can go on. I see myself more as a fabricator than a mechanic. I know I've put things together, so you guys and gals that are watching this that work in shops full time, if I don't do things exactly like you think I should, you know, just go easy on me a little bit. There, that worked out pretty nice. I managed to find an inch wedge, and I've also got an alloy 8mm bolt. We had these made years ago, so it's kind of nice to, this is the last I have, so it's going to work fine on this bike. Put a little bit of white lithium grease inside. Okay, it's not going to hit. IRD seat posts from the 80s. I don't know if you recall those. I've had it forever. And a titanium flight saddle. Nice combination. I made these two little pieces here because I didn't want to use a large bolt. This is a 5mm Allen screw, and it's got little alloy caps on each end. That's the first time I've done that. Okay, so I got this system of hooks here, and one goes under the seat and the other goes under the bar, and that's how I like to work. If you don't think it's cool, you can comment. There we go. No rust in here yet. Also don't have holes for the chainstays, but I don't think I'll be riding this in the rain too much. So this is race face stuff, and I've used it and it works just fine. Okay. I bought some nice pedals, got XTR. I've never used XTR pedals. I've had a lot of XT pedals, but just put a little bit of grease around here. And I like the red tires. A titanium water bottle cage and titanium fasteners, which are Torx. It's got an S on the cage. I guess that means specialized. Okay. I like the crank. I like the look of the cranks, the carbon fiber, and the fillet and the fillet braze, which is clear coated. I like that look. Got an XT shifter here. It's a 10-speed, and it used to have this big thing that came up that showed which gear you're in, but you can take it off, and there's a cover that fits right over that they also supply you with. Much nicer, like that. I got the brake levers, and I was going to make up some cables, and I got cables, and the ends were really short. And this is a kind of a stainless cable. I can't solder it, so what I did was to make an end. I had some Delrin. This is actually what I used. I had some square Delrin. I didn't have rounds, so I went to the belt sander. I kind of rounded it. Then I held it in the lathe, and I made up these inserts so that when you put it into the lever, it fills up that whole space, and it looks really nice, and it's flush. So that's what happened there. I actually modified it. I had to sand these down a little bit because they were almost as large as this hole, but not quite. So I had to have some wall thickness on it. So that's the story of the cables. Okay, 135. So that's the same. I got the same spacing on both sides. I got some grips. I was at a mountain bike swap meet, $5. But I don't like how large they are, so we're going to modify that. We're going to cut them down. I just have a habit of modifying things. Very hard for me to leave things as they are. So it's not quite perfect, but we'll show you what goes on next. There you go. I'm going to spin that and smooth it. You know, rubber is not like aluminum or steel. It doesn't cut real clean sometimes, although I'm not an expert on rubber. But yeah, all that little bits, they come off, and that looks okay. So we'll do the next one. I got sold motorcycle grips at a bicycle swap meet, because look, this is for the throttle and I don't have a throttle, so we're just gonna pretend. I'll have to get new grips later. Watch how easy this one goes on. Have to fix that later. I made these little ends to fit in there, so it's the right size. I know you can probably buy some, but I like making stuff. This is just a little shorty here. Not very long at all. I like to go out to the belt sander now and just sand the ends flush, and so there's not a part of the cable, the inner cable, that comes out and gets cut. Then I've got a little scriber and I open up the Teflon liner inside. In here we have to have oil because there's an internal cable that goes through the stem. So we have to have some oil there. So I just put a little bit on there. There we go. It's pretty smooth routing. Got little washers that go in here because otherwise the shoulder here isn't large enough because we've extended the bearing surface. I'll show you that. See this little tube that goes through there? That's how long the bearing surface used to be. Now it's going to be that long. So we've made a modification. These are the brake springs. They're out of Shimano U-brakes. There's a little hole in here. There we go. So that feeds in like that. See, that's where the spring goes. See the little piece there? Yeah, so the spring's working and I can increase the pressure, and then it's the Allen screw that locks the pressure. So we've got some pressure there. We'll see how that works. Here's the straddle cable for the rear brake, and I was working on the front brake straddle cable last night, and then I thought you might like to see how that gets soldered on there. I found an old piece of 1/4-inch rod. It's brass. So I cut it off, I drilled a hole. Can you see how I used a countersink here? So that's how the cable goes in this way, and I need to line it up with this one. See how the cable has a slight curve? So I put this in line with that curve, or perpendicular to the curve. So I'll do the same thing here. So I'll show you how I do this, because maybe you don't know. See how that's lined up? And then what I have to do is to open it up. See it start to open up? And then I can use a center punch. So maybe a little bit more of this. There you go. So it's opened up. This is just solder flux, nothing high tech. So put a little bit right on top there. That's all you need. You don't need a whole bunch. And as it heats up, it'll flow down into the brass, so I don't have to worry about putting any on the brass right now. You don't need a super big flame, sort of medium. So I want to heat the brass, because it's not going to take that long for the cable to heat up. There you go. And that should be it. Can you see here how the solder came all the way through? That's a good sign. If you don't see solder that came through, maybe you didn't get it quite hot enough, or it wasn't clean enough or something. That's a good sign. We'll see if it fits. Well, that got measured pretty well. I have a story. I had one of these and I needed one more, so I went to a local bike shop. I walked in, I got my mask on, and and there's a young guy that helped me, and I said, I need one more of these, and he says, what's that? So I had my mask on. I almost started laughing out loud, but I kept my cool. Okay, so we got some breaks happening there. Okay, there we go. That's a pretty good fit when it won't go on right away. Going through the noodle. There we go. If I did this every day, I'd be better. I like how both cables come on one side. That's the first time I've ever done that sort of routing. I'm still learning. Still got lots to go. So this is the second noodle. We didn't do a whole lot of bikes with two noodles. A bunch of bikes had one noodle, but only a few had two noodles. And it goes, there's a little guide right on the edge of the e-brake boss. There we go. I think right about there. Try that. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of building up a Romax. You could like, you could subscribe. There's a couple words down under the screen, show more. If you click on that, you'll find the coffee link. Mitch and I like good coffee. If you bought us coffee, it'd be much appreciated. Thank you, stay safe, see you next week.